your English podcast.
Hello, everyone. A massive welcome to all of you tuning in.
Yes, hello.
It is so fantastic to have you back with us on your English podcast.
It really is.
Whether you're, driving, on a run, or just chilling with a coffee, we are so thrilled to be here with you.
That's right. It is always such a pleasure to be back. We know how busy life gets, so the fact that you're choosing to spend this time with us, well, it means a lot.
It really does. So, before we get the ball rolling, let's do the proper introductions, just so we're all on the same page. And today, we are tackling a topic that I think it really haunts people. That's the right word for it, isn't it?
I know exactly where you're going with this.
Yeah.
It's that first impression monster.
It is. It's that one specific terrifying moment. And you know the one I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You've been studying English for years. You understand podcasts like this one. You can watch movies. You feel competent.
Right. You have all the knowledge stored up in your head.
Exactly. But you walk into a room, maybe it's a party, maybe a work event, and a total stranger looks at you and says, "Hi, tell me about yourself," and just freeze.
Freeze. It's universal, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like the brain just decides to, disconnect from the mouth.
Your palms get all sweaty, your heart starts racing, and all of a sudden you can't remember basic words. You forget your own name.
Oh, totally.
And you're just standing there thinking, I know the present perfect continuous tense. Why can't I just say hello?
It is a very real anxiety, and I think it's important to say that this isn't just about, your language level. It's about the psychology of it.
Yeah.
We feel like we're on stage being judged.
Yes.
And that fear of making a mistake right at the start, it just creates this wall that blocks any real connection.
Connect. That's the key word there, for sure. So that is our mission for today's deep dive. We are going to take you from that nervous, awkward silence to a place of confident connection.
Exactly. We want to give you a roadmap so that when someone asks, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
You don't just stare at your shoes and panic.
We've got a really solid plan for this, too. We're not just going to give you a list of phrases to memorize.
No, we're going to break down the psychology of why introductions are so hard in the first place, and then we're going to give you a foolproof 6-step structure.
6 steps. I love a good list that brings a sense of order to the chaos of social situations.
It's a great list. We'll cover the basics, name and age, but we're also going to talk about how to talk about your hobbies without being boring.
Oh, that's a big one.
And the power of a funny story, which is my favorite part. And we even have some specific power vocabulary to help you upgrade how you describe yourself.
I love it. Let's unpack this. Let's start with the big picture, the psychology. Why is this specific moment so heavy? Why do we freeze up like that?
Well, it's not just panic. There's actually a psychological concept at play here called the spotlight effect.
The spotlight effect. Okay, break that down for me. What is that?
It's this tendency we have to believe that we are being noticed way more than we actually are.
Ah.
We feel like there's a literal spotlight shining on us,
Mm-hmm.
and it's highlighting every single tiny flaw, every mispronounced word, every awkward pause.
That is so true. You think everyone is analyzing your grammar, your accent, your choice of shirt. You're convinced that if you make one tiny mistake, they'll remember it forever.
Exactly. But the reality is, people are mostly thinking about themselves.
Right.
They aren't thinking about you. They're worrying about their introduction or what they're going to say next or whether they have something in their teeth.
So in a weird way, realizing that everyone is a bit self-absorbed is actually liberating.
Completely. Once you understand that you're not the center of their universe, it actually lowers the pressure. You're not performing a solo on a stage. You're just, passing a ball back and forth in a game of catch.
I really like that analogy, passing the ball. Because if you think of it as a performance, the goal is to be impressive. But if it's a game of catch,
The goal is just to keep the ball in the air.
right, keep the conversation moving.
Precisely. And that brings us to the actual purpose of an introduction. I think a lot of learners get this wrong. They think it's a data transfer.
Right. I am Alex. I am a human male. I reside in a house. Here's my identification number.
Exactly. That's factual, but it's not an introduction. An intro is the first step in building a relationship. It's about finding common ground. I like to call these hooks.
Hooks.
Yeah, conversational hooks, little pieces of information that the other person can latch on to. If you just give them dry facts, it's like a smooth wall. There's nothing to grab.
Nothing for them to connect with.
But if you share a little bit of your personality, you're giving them something to hold on to, something to ask about.
That's such a good way of looking at it. It takes the pressure off of being perfect and puts the focus on just being human.
Right.
But even knowing all that, the anxiety is still real. Understanding the spotlight effect is one thing, but feeling your heart pound in your chest is another. How do we deal with the physical nerves?
Preparation. That is the secret weapon.
Yeah.
And I don't mean memorizing a speech word for word.
So what do you mean by preparation? Like rehearsing?
Kind of. It's more about having a mental structure, like an algorithm you can follow.
Okay.
When you know what you're going to say, you don't have to spend all your mental energy searching for words. You reduce the cognitive load.
Cognitive load, that's like how much your brain is trying to process at once.
Right, exactly. If you're trying to figure out grammar, remember vocabulary, read social cues, and decide what to say all at the same time, your brain just crashes. That's the freeze.
But if the what is already decided,
Then you can focus on the how. You can focus on your tone, your eye contact, your smile. You can actually be present in the conversation.
that makes so much sense. It's like muscle memory. A professional athlete isn't thinking about how to swing the bat. That part's automatic. They're just watching the ball.
Precisely. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is connection. And connection happens when you are present, not when you're lost inside your own head.
Okay, well, speaking of connection, let's stop talking about it and actually do it.
Let's do it.
Let's try to model what we think is a really good introduction. We can do a little role play here.
I like it. Let's set the scene. Imagine we are at a casual social gathering, like a friend's barbecue or something we've never met before.
Got it. Casual barbecue. The sun is shining. I can smell the burgers. Okay, here we go.
Hi, I'm Alex. I don't think we've met. Where are you from?
Hello, I'm Nina. It's nice to meet you. I live in Washington, and I'm 28 years old. And you?
Nice. I'm actually from around here, a local guy. I work in video production.
Well, that's interesting. I work as an English teacher. It keeps me pretty busy. But when I do have some free time, I really love reading detective novels. And lately, I've been getting into hiking and practicing yoga.
Wow, that's really cool. Detective novels, huh? I love a good mystery. I'm really into cinema myself, mostly the filming and editing side of things, and I play the drums.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's sort of my way of staying creative and, keeping a positive mindset.
Drums must be such a great way to let off some steam.
It really is.
Okay, and scene. Let's break character. Phew. Okay. That felt, you know what? That felt pretty easy.
It did, right. But let's analyze why it felt easy. We need to deconstruct this a bit for everyone listening.
Well, right away, the first thing I noticed was in that very first exchange.
What was that?
You didn't just answer my question and stop.
Right. You asked where I was from, and I said, I live in Washington. And you?
That "and you" is
Mhm.
so critical.
It is, isn't it? A lot of learners treat an introduction like an interrogation. They answer a question,
Yeah.
and then there's this awkward silence while they wait for the next one.
Yeah, it kills the momentum.
But by adding,
Okay.
and you,
Hmm.
I'm signaling that this is a two-way street. I'm showing I'm interested. It puts the ball back in your court.
And then once we got past the basic info, we didn't just stay there. We did names and locations. But as soon as you mentioned detective novels and yoga, my brain just lit up. I had something to work with.
Exactly. Those were the hooks we talked about earlier. If I had just stopped at, I'm Nina from Washington, you would have had to work really hard to keep the conversation going.
I'd be scrambling like, is Washington nice?
Right. But because I gave you detectives, hiking, and yoga, you had 3 different paths you could choose from.
And the same for my side. I threw in filming and drums. And specifically, I mentioned that they help me stay creative.
That was a great touch. It added flavor. It wasn't just I play drums. It was I play drums because. And that little because tells me something important about your personality. It tells me you value creativity.
So we were basically following a kind of roadmap there, weren't we? We moved through these specific steps.
We did. We covered 4 specific points before we even got to the hobbies. So let's break down those basics for everyone. Steps 1 through 4.
Okay. Step 1 is the absolute easiest, but you would be shocked at how often people fumble it. The name.
Keep it simple. My name is, or I'm. That's all you need.
But it's not just about the words, it's the delivery. I call this the broadcast.
The broadcast. Tell me more.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows their own name, obviously, but they don't broadcast it. They throw it away, they mumble it while they're looking down or reaching for a handshake. They say it really fast, like, "Hi, I'm Alex."
The mumble factor. Yes.
And if I miss your name in those first 2 seconds, the whole foundation of our conversation is shaky. I spend the next 10 minutes trying to figure out if you said Nina or Tina or Gina.
And you're not actually listening to anything else I'm saying because you're panicking about my name.
Exactly. So the advice isn't just say your name, it's about putting a little pause around it. Give it space. Hi. Pause. I'm Alex.
Own it. That's really good advice.
Step 2 is age. Now, this one can be a little culturally tricky, can it?
It definitely can. In some cultures, asking someone's age is totally normal. In others, it can be seen as a bit rude, especially in a professional setting. So you have to read the room.
For sure.
Yeah.
But the big thing here for English learners is the grammar. How many times have we heard students say, I have 28 years?
Oh, countless times. I have 20 years. I have 30 years. Listeners, if you take one thing away from this section, please let it be this. In English, we are our age. We don't possess it.
You know, it's actually a really interesting philosophical difference between languages. In many Romance languages, you have years. They're like a possession you're carrying.
Right, like coins in your pocket.
Exactly. But in English, it's a state of being. You are 28. It's part of your identity in that moment.
I love that distinction. You aren't holding the years, you embody them. So the phrasing is simple. I'm 28 years old, or even just, I'm 28.
Step 3 is location. This really helps to anchor the conversation, give it a sense of place.
It does. But there's a nuance here, too. The difference between I live in and I am from.
Yes, this is so important, especially for anyone who is an expat or a digital nomad. I am from the UK, but I live in Tokyo.
That contrast is a huge hook in itself. It immediately makes me want to ask, wow, that's a big move. How did you get from the UK to Tokyo?
Exactly. It creates a story. If you just say, I live in Tokyo, you're hiding that really interesting part of your journey. So use step 3 to establish your geography. It gives people a mental map of who you are.
And finally, step 4, profession or status. So I work as a vet, or I am a student.
Now, this is where I see people absolutely kill
Oh
conversations.
no, how so?
They use their official, super long, complicated job title from their business card.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Hi, I am the Senior Vice President of Interdepartmental Logistics and Supply Chain Management Integration for the Northeast Quadrant.
My eyes have glazed over. I'm already looking for someone else to talk to.
Exactly. Unless you're at a very, very specific industry conference, nobody knows what that means. And to be honest, nobody really cares. It just shuts down the conversation.
So what's the better way to do it?
I'm a big fan of the simplifier approach. If you are that VP of logistics, just say something like, I help companies move their products around the world.
Oh, that is so much better. I help companies move products. It's active. It's clear. Anyone can understand it.
Or just keep it broad. I work in logistics. If they're interested, they'll ask a follow-up question. Oh, really? What kind of logistics? Then you can get more specific, but you have to start broad.
In our role play, I just said I work as an English teacher. Simple. It clearly defines what I spend my days doing.
And I said, I work in video production. I didn't say, I am a freelance cinematographer specializing in corporate promotional content.
Much better.
So those are the first 4 steps: name, age, location, job. It sounds really basic, but if you can master these 4, you have a solid foundation you can deliver without even thinking.
I want to pause here for a second. I'd like to ask everyone listening,
Yeah.
just stop for a moment. How would you answer those first 4 questions right now?
Yeah, good idea. If you met one of us at that imaginary barbecue, what would you say?
Hi, I'm your name. I am your age. I live in your city. I work as a job.
Try saying it out loud. Seriously, do it right now. It feels different when you actually say it, doesn't it? The words have a physical weight to them.
They do. And hey, if you're finding these kinds of tips helpful for your confidence, if this is making you rethink your own introduction, please do consider subscribing to our channel.
Absolutely. We have so many deep dives planned on topics just like this one: negotiation, storytelling, how to argue politely, and we really don't want you to miss out. So just take a second and hit that subscribe button.
Okay, so we have the foundation, we have the facts, but as we said, facts are boring, facts don't make friends. We need some color.
We need the fun stuff. Section 4. Adding color, hobbies, and strengths. This is the part where you stop being a resume and you start being a person.
I really think this is where the conversation is either won or lost. In our little role play, I didn't just say, I like yoga.
No, you added that extra layer you mentioned that helps you relax and find balance. That's the key, right? The why.
Exactly. The what is the hobby? The why is the value behind it. Anyone can say, I like to read. It's a bit boring. But if I say, I love reading detective novels because I really enjoy solving puzzles, suddenly you know something about how my brain works.
You know that you like logic, that you like a challenge.
Right. You're using the hobby as a vehicle to deliver something about your personality.
That's a fantastic insight.
It really is.
Let's look at my example. I talked about drums and filming. Now, if I just say I play drums, you might think I'm just loud.
Or that you're in a garage band.
Right. But when I explain, it helps me stay creative and positive. Now you see it differently. You see it as a form of discipline or a creative outlet. It shows that creativity is a value of mine.
This is such a great way to highlight your strengths without coming across as arrogant. I mean, nobody likes the person who says, "Hi, my name is Nina, and I am extremely intelligent and creative."
Oh, yeah. That's a total turnoff. That's the quickest way to make someone find an excuse to walk away.
But if you say, "I love writing code because I enjoy creative problem solving," you've just told me that you're creative and a problem solver, but you did it through the lens of your hobby. It's much more subtle.
It's the classic rule of show, don't tell. We hear it in writing all the time, but it's just as important in conversation.
For sure.
So, for everyone listening, think about your hobbies. Do you play team sport? Why? Is it the teamwork? Then say, I play football because I love being part of a team.
Do you enjoy cooking? Maybe it's because it's relaxing for you.
Yeah.
You could say, "I love cooking because it's my favorite way to switch off my brain after a long day at work." It's a small change in wording, but it completely upgrades your introduction.
I have a question though. What if someone have a hobby that they think is, well, a bit lazy, like just watching TV?
That's a really common one. My main hobby is watching Netflix.
Right. How on earth do you make I watch Netflix sound interesting?
Well, you go back to the why. Why do you watch it? Are you just passively consuming it, or are you analyzing the stories? Do you love the cinematography? Do you use it to learn about different cultures?
Ah, I see. So instead of I watch Netflix, you could say something like, I'm a huge film buff. I really love analyzing how different directors tell their stories.
Boom. Exactly. Suddenly you're not a couch potato, you're a film critic. It's all about how you frame it.
Okay, so we've got the basics and we've got the hobbies with the why. But sometimes, even with all of that, an introduction can still feel a bit stiff, a bit too perfect.
That's the danger, isn't it? If your script is too polished, if you sound too rehearsed, you can seem unapproachable, like a robot or a salesperson. We need a secret weapon to break the ice.
And that would be the secret weapon, the funny story.
Yes. Vulnerability is magnetic. This goes back to psychology again. There's something called the pratfall effect.
The pratfall effect. What, like tripping over?
Literally, psychologists found that when a person who is seen as competent makes a small mistake like spilling coffee on themselves or, yes, tripping over something, people actually like them more.
Really? That's so counterintuitive.
It is, but it makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah.
Perfection is intimidating. It creates distance. But vulnerability creates closeness. When we admit that we're not perfect, other people relax.
They think, oh, thank goodness, I don't have to be perfect either.
Exactly. It makes you relatable. It makes you human.
That is fascinating. So being a little bit clumsy or admitting to a mistake is actually a social superpower.
It is. In our ideal introduction strategy, we always recommend including a short, funny story about a small mistake you made.
You have a great one about yoga, don't you?
Oh, the yoga incident. Yes. So in my perfect intro, I might talk about how yoga is relaxing and helps me find balance, right? I'm painting this picture of myself as this graceful Zen master.
Very serene, yes.
But the truth is, my first ever yoga class was a complete disaster. The instructor was demonstrating this really complex pose. I think it was called the eagle pose, where you have to wrap your legs and arms around each other like a pretzel.
Oh, I've seen that one. It looks impossible.
It is. So I'm trying to copy her. I'm wrapping myself up, focusing really intensely. And then I couldn't get out. I literally got stuck. My muscles just seized up.
No
The
way.
instructor had to stop the entire class, walk over to me, and physically untangle my limbs in front of 20 complete strangers.
That is amazing.
It was so embarrassing at the time. My face was beet red. But now, it's a great story. If I tell that to someone right after I say I like yoga, we both laugh, and all the tension in the conversation just melts away. It shows I can laugh at myself.
And that's the key. It makes you so much more relatable. I have a similar one about my cool filmmaking hobby.
How would you tell?
So I tell people I work in video production, which can sound very technical and impressive. But my first time ever on a real professional film set was a complete train wreck.
Let's hear it.
I was just an intern. I was so excited. I had my little clipboard. I was wearing a headset. I felt very important. I walked onto the set, ready to be a professional. And I was so nervous and so focused on looking cool that I walked right past the director, the main boss, without introducing myself. I just stood there staring at him.
Oh, no.
And then, to make it about 10 times worse, I tripped over a huge power cable and unplugged the main light for the entire set.
You didn't. You unplugged the light.
The whole set just went pitch black. Total darkness. Dead silence.
Oh, my goodness.
It was mortifying. But sharing that story now, it immediately shows that I'm someone who can admit when I'm nervous or when I've messed up. It makes the other person feel more comfortable sharing their own imperfections.
So the big takeaway here for everyone listening is to have one pocket story ready to go. It doesn't have to be this long, elaborate stand-up comedy routine.
Right.
Just a 30-second anecdote.
Right. Maybe you once ordered the wrong thing in a restaurant and had to eat something incredibly spicy. Maybe you got on the wrong bus and ended up in a completely different town.
Just something that says, hey, I'm human, I make silly mistakes, and I can laugh about it. It totally changes the dynamic of the conversation.
Now, to tell these stories and describe these hobbies effectively, we need the right words. We can't just rely on good, bad, and nice. To really make an impression, you need a vocabulary upgrade.
Yes. Let's look at some power words. These are adjectives and nouns that make you sound more sophisticated and articulate. But let's not just give definitions. Let's talk about the nuance.
Okay, let's start with a word we used a lot earlier. Creative.
Creative is a good word, but it's a bit generic, isn't it? I'm creative. What does that mean? Do you paint? Do you solve problems?
It's a bit vague.
So I prefer a word like resourceful.
Resourceful, that's a strong word.
It implies creativity, but specifically creativity under pressure. It means you can solve problems with limited tools or a small budget. An engineer isn't just creative, they're resourceful.
That's good. Or maybe innovative.
Yes. Innovative suggests you're not just making something pretty, you're changing the system. You're bringing in new ideas. So instead of, I'm creative at my job, you could try, I always try to find innovative solutions to problems.
Okay, here's another one. For the other side of the coin, we often say we're tired.
Tired is very basic. Let's upgrade that to exhausting or draining.
What's the difference between those two?
Well, exhausting means very, very tired, usually in a physical or mental way. Running a marathon is exhausting, but draining feels like something is being actively taken away from you.
Oh, that's a great distinction.
Dealing with angry customers all day is emotionally draining. It implies a loss of your energy, your spirit.
So if you're describing a hard day's work, you could say, my work is exhausting, but I love the challenge. That can sound positive. But if you say my work is draining, that sounds much more negative.
Exactly. Exhausting can be a good kind of tired. Draining almost never is.
What about the opposite? When something is good, instead of just saying my job is good,
Let's use reward.
that's a beautiful word. It means it gives you a feeling of satisfaction. It pays you back, but emotionally, not with money.
Helping people learn a new skill is a very rewarding experience. It implies value and purpose. Or you could use fulfilling.
Fulfilling. That feels like it completes you in some way.
Yes. For me, gardening is really fulfilling. It fills you up inside.
And finally, a word that every language learner needs, and apparently every beginner yoga practitioner needs: patience.
The ability to accept delays or problems without getting upset.
Learning English requires a lot of patience. Getting untangled from that yoga pose required a lot of patience.
And a good sense of humor.
Okay, let's do a quick quiz. I'm going to throw a scenario at you, and you have to use one of our new power words.
All right, I'm ready. Put me on the spot.
Okay, you just finished a 12-hour shift at work, grading papers nonstop. Your brain feels like mush. How do you describe the day?
It was an absolutely exhausting day.
Perfect. Scenario 2. Your team faced a big budget cut, but you still managed to finish the project on time by using free software and calling in favors.
I had to be very resourceful.
Yes. You didn't just give up. You were resourceful. Okay, your turn.
Okay, scenario 3. You spent the whole weekend volunteering to build a playground for a local school. You're tired, but you feel amazing.
That experience was incredibly rewarding, or maybe fulfilling.
Exactly. See how these words add so much more texture and detail? They tell a whole story in a single word.
I want to ask you, the listener, which of these words describes your job or your hobby? Is your job exhausting? Is your hobby rewarding? Do you consider yourself resourceful?
Think about it. And if you enjoy these deep dives into the real nuances of English, please consider subscribing so you don't miss our future episodes. We really love getting into these specific details with you.
Okay, so we have covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about the psychology, the spotlight effect. We've talked about the basic steps, avoiding the mumble. We've done hobbies, finding the why. We've done stories, the pratfall effect, and now vocabulary.
It sounds like a lot, but it really fits together into a cohesive system. Let's bring it all together now. Let's give everyone the master's summary, the 6 steps to a perfect introduction.
Let's list them out nice and clear. If you're taking notes, this is the time to write these down.
Step 1, the name. Don't mumble it. Use that broadcast technique we talked about. A little pause. I'm Nina.
Step 2, age. Only if it's appropriate for the culture and the situation. And remember the mindset. You're your age, you don't have it, I am 30.
Step 3, location. Anchor yourself in space. Use I live in, or create a hook with the contrast. I'm from country X, but I live in city Y.
Step 4, work or study. Use the simplifier. No long, complicated HR titles. Just tell people what you do in simple terms. I help people do X.
Step 5, hobbies and strengths. This is the color, this is the personality. Don't just list your activities, give the why. I love playing the drums because it helps me stay creative.
And step 6, the funny story. The human element. The secret weapon. A quick 30-second anecdote about a small mistake to break the tension and build a real connection.
6 steps. If you have those 6 things prepared in your mind, if you have that algorithm ready to go, you will never freeze again. You'll always have something to say. You just have to press play.
And a final couple of tips on the delivery. Keep it brief. This isn't a 5-minute monologue about your entire life.
Be natural. Don't sound like you're reading from a script. And please, please file.
It sounds so cliche, doesn't it? Just smile.
It does, but it's biological. Smiling physically changes the shape of your mouth and your vocal cords. It actually changes the sound of your voice.
You sound friendlier.
You sound friendlier, you sound more confident, even if you're absolutely terrified on the inside. You can literally hear a smile over the phone. It makes a difference.
That is fantastic advice. Fake it till you make it, right?
Exactly.
So we have really gone on a journey today. We started with that feeling of fear, the sweaty palms, the mental block, and now we have a complete plan. We have science, we have structure, and we have stories.
We do. And that's what this is all about, turning that fear into a clear, actionable plan.
Remember, confidence isn't about knowing every single word in the dictionary. It's about having a plan and, more importantly, being willing to connect with another human being.
Confidence comes from practice and from having a positive attitude toward your own mistakes.
Mhm.
The more you introduce yourself, the easier it gets. The first time you tell your funny story, it might feel scary. The 10th time, you'll have the whole room laughing with you.
So here is our challenge to you. Yes, you listening right now. As soon as this show ends, I want you to practice your intro out loud.
Do it.
Go to a mirror if you have to. Introduce yourself to your pet. Introduce yourself to a plant. Just say the words.
Hi, I'm Name. I am age I live in. Go through all 6 steps. Feel the rhythm of it in your mouth. And hey, if the platform you're listening on allows comments, why not share your funny story with us? We would absolutely love to read them.
That would be amazing. I want to hear about all your yoga tangle moments and your unplugging the lights moments.
Me too. Let's celebrate the messy, funny parts of being human.
Well, this has been a really, really fun deep dive. I feel better about introducing myself now, and I do this for a living.
Me too. It's always good to get back to the fundamentals and remember the psychology behind it all.
Stay bold, everyone. Keep experimenting with your English. And don't ever be afraid to make mistakes. That's where all the best stories come from.
Thank you so much for listening to your English podcast today. We really appreciate you spending your time with us.
See you next time.